The B stream with some new faces. We're back. It is me, DevMada, and I'm joined by Manny. You'll see why in a second. DWG KIA versus NIP. We're back to the top of the board and rotating our round.
It's getting very heavy. It's
Oh,
just
there
very
it is.
slow.
Hey, look, it's me, DevMada. He is Mandy. They may have accidentally left Mandy's box down
I'm
here.
going to stand now.
You can stand. This is how much extra height Mandy needs. If I step off...
Well, it's just as tall normally.
Mandy, you're so little. Okay, we'll start talking about the game now.
Yes. Good
game. Good game. DWG KIA, bad game. So far, if you're unfamiliar with how things have gone for DWG KIA, not great. NIP have just come off the back of a bit of success earlier this very day. DWG KIA, unfortunately, their story doesn't quite go as well.
No, definitely not yet. And these two teams, of course, met each other before as we are starting the second part of the round robin. And back down was a 7-1 victory to NIP on Clubhouse. So with that said, damn, there is a lot that they need to do. And even worse, there's almost not a single opportunity for them anymore to qualify.
That's it. So we'll have a quick look at the rankings, though, because we're also at the top of the board for everything. So let's have a look and see where we settle. Now, Rogue in Group A currently sit at that top point. Ninjas and Pyjamas and Xset, both, though, on 6 points. DWG KIA are the only ones not there. So in a strange way of looking at it, it's almost like we've had a full reset, but now the race is between 3 teams, not 4, for those 2 spots.
Yeah, there's 3 teams that are really competing for it, but you still have DWG KIA in the mix that could maybe upset some people. Play a bit of a gatekeeper here or there. And, you know, you might be thinking, well, there surely is a way that they could still qualify. Yes. I don't exactly know what it will be, but it was like, if they win this game with like full regulation, a 4% chance of them making it. It's not a lot, but G2 did it before, so...
They have.
It is definitely possible, but it's looking very unlikely. Like DWG is going to be outdoing themselves compared to what they did in Sweden.
I believe we do also have the other groups as well, so we can start potentially cycling through those. Are we doing the full caliber pickup on all 4 groups?
We could, but we could also go for the percentages, for the probability of qualifying for each of these groups. Strabuni and Ref do update these every now and then. So as we see, if Rogue managed to get an overtime regulation victory in the next game, which is now 93%, but of course the game we currently have is DWG KIA against NIP. If NIP managed to get a full 3 points, they won't be up at the 93% like Rogue would be, just a 79, which is still really good. Regulation loss, still that 44%. But DWG KIA, those don't look good. They could be eliminated after this game.
They could, and it is pretty close to impossible for them to try and pull it back in. We're not going to look at the group standings, but we are going to look at the playoff chances of the other group. And here it is for the side of the FaZe clan. Took their victory against G2 just at the turn of the half, and they'll play a little bit later on in the day. Sandbox took theirs against Sonics as well, so slip above them in the competition and the pressure that they might be able to apply elsewhere. G2, they could find themselves confirmed as one of the 2 heading out of this group, but it's still sort of a bit half and half for Sandbox. If they can pull a win later on today, the race is still afoot.
Yeah, for sure. Sandbox needs that win. So does Sonic, so does G2 and FaZe. Well, they're just sitting there basically almost ready to go. So as we then head on towards Group C, the third group of our major here, we have W7M in the lead. Regulation win or overtime win, both will confirm them to be qualified for the playoffs. Wolves is a little bit below that after their loss just recently. Oxygen still in the mix as well, and Gaming Gladiators as well has an opportunity. Just 25% though is not looking very likely for them, but it is definitely possible. And then the last group is going to be Group D, which we'll also just quickly pull up with Elevate. Surprise, surprise, looking to qualify themselves possibly at the end of the day.
I mean, that's it, isn't it? The Elevate story. It was kind of huge, kind of powerful, and kind of surprising. Astralis being around that sort of third echelon M&M. They're also playing for their life at the other stream as well. And Furia, well, they're playing to end it. They have a chance of putting themselves also close to that situation.
Yeah, for sure. And we don't get to see that, at least not now, because we are headed into a different game. NIP, DWG KIA, like we have just mentioned. So that is where we will put our focus on. And as we said, these 2 teams, they met before. And back then, DWG KIA didn't really have anything to show for. It was just a single round victory that they managed to put onto the board, whereas NIP managed to get the full 7. So as we head towards the maps, it is going to be Skyscraper. This time attack chosen by NIP. So let me quickly see what I have on Skyscraper of NIP. Oh, 50% win rate these last 3 months.
Pretty good. DWG KIA can play the game. They can bring a good Skyscraper together. They've been able to play it outside of this major.
Yeah.
But that's maybe the problem, is inside of this major, they haven't really been able to play any game. Some of the most common problems that we've seen and been told by the people that have been in-depth casting the games is they just haven't seemed responsive. Even earlier today, they took a handful of rounds, but by the words of those watching and analyzing, that was not even entirely true, and that was a bit lucky on their side. So we're going to have a reset from them, from us, and I guess we'll see if they've had that as we go to the map fly, find ourselves heading in to Skyscraper.
Good to see whether or not DWG KIA is going to be able to outdo themselves, but the social polls believe not. 70% of you think that NIP have this one in the bag, compared to the 30% of you who still believe in DWG KIA being able to turn this around, find a victory, and fight for that 4% or 0.09. So with that, we are getting in. The band face first. Is it another Finca to be removed? Maybe a Monty, sometimes an operator we see gone. Are we going to see completely different kind of bands to appear in this matchup? First one off the board is going to be Ossa. Okay, that is not an operator we see banned very often.
I mean, I think it's sort of positional. It's a directional operator for teams. What I mean by that is, if you've got your compass of the ways you like to go in this game, she's one that can sort of stop that off. And I think DWG KIA, they need all the pieces of the puzzle to fall into their favor as much as possible. They can't entirely keep finding themselves sort of throwing to the wind. And again, for everything about NIP, the one thing that we're sort of being told to take away from the earlier performances today is Pino was unbelievable. Literally couldn't stop clicking heads if he tried.
You start firing at him and he just flicks you out of existence.
Apparently, yeah. So I still think it's eyes on DWG KIA. What can they do to change the forces that have not been on their force?
It's a big question. Of course, DWG KIA was that team that surprised many during Sweden, found themselves in the top 4 spot, just a 1v1 away from making it to the grand finals. And I still to this day would say, if they were the ones that won that 1v1, if they were the ones that played that grand finals, they would have been the major champions in Sweden. And ever since, they haven't been quite the same on the international stage. They haven't been able to make the same mark. Maybe because teams start to figure out DWG KIA. I mean, they are a scary team to play against, but there's definitely ways to counter them. And we do start to see that during this major, during previous majors and international appearances as well. And now they're coming up against NIP. Renewed roster, a roster that has been world champion against a team that they have played before once.
Now, as someone we're getting the test of being able, or the taste even, to start to cast some of these players that we haven't quite had the energy or ability to, as we've been wrapped up in another group, I'm excited about Wizard. Because Wizard is one of those hot new players. Wizard is one of the hottest new players who's been able to have a fantastic tournament so far. And when he joined, he wasn't the biggest statistical drive for the team. But this showing he's had throughout the games for NIP so far is exceptional. And that's sort of some of the stuff we were seeing in the other group. So give me some good rookie play as we lean in here. They're starting off on their attack. The pressure over towards the side. They're just going to get the top of the close stairs popped in.
Oh, that's
There's the bandit trick, and there goes the thermite.
That is always a bit painful when you lose one of your exothermics like that. Only just one left now, and you need to make a decision. Are you going to be using that? Are you going to try and still open up the VIP wall? Are you going for the triple wall? Or are you just keeping it in pocket for some complete other strategy? Luckily, you do have Wizard. You just mentioned it with the Ace, with the Selmas available. So there is always that redundancy. And Pino, of course, onto the Maverick. So Heartbreach definitely not going to be an issue. It's just that big hole that you want to have that you do not really need to be, careful of if you hit the sides or not.
Now, they're having to go internal. They've sort of read the fact that the Clash likes to swing out on the balcony, as DWG KIA do, and it's kind of impossible to get get confident and put that pressure on. Pino gives himself a line. The eyes around to the top of the stair set to kind of get the lockdown here as they're going to steady their way across. But look at this. Woogieman, he's got the rotation. He knows that there's not really pressure coming directly towards his wall, so he's going to see if he can step up onto the top of the dragon stairs and then pull back behind the dragon when the pressure starts to get a little bit too hot. It can come over that open space behind him. They're able to try and get a little bit more control of Drum, of the split, and of the drop down. But for now, it's NIP step by step and row by row. They are steadily cleansing this map.
Just a little bit steady, yes. DWG KIA is still around. Our own potential is still there. Someone could be coming up these main stairs and strike one of these NIP players in the back. Now, the clash is the big worry. How are you going to be dealing with this? Katzing, in the meantime, does take a little bit of damage elsewhere on the map. As we continue, it's NIP that is just knocking on the front doors of DWG KIA right now. Gonna find an entry desperately. They want to find a way in, just not been given any as of yet. As a C4 from below, that's what we're talking about. Yes, with a flank now going up the back stairs. Might be able to find more, as he is going to be finding a couple of them right here. A couple of red pings. He's going to find 1, 2, potentially 4 even to go forward. Misses that opportunity. Has a second attempt though.
There it is now with all the damage done on the back line. There's a bit of pressure. There it is. A quad kill for Yas. Pino finds 1, but the clash is very quickly going to replace a gap. And one of the things about Skyscraper is the rotates over the top. They are not quick. There's no real way for him to get that kit in time. The first round, well, I'm going to say it's DWG KIA's. There's really 10 seconds, and anything can technically happen, but you assume nothing else really will. Pino gets the free exit kill, gets 1 more, but there's still 2 other players. DWG KIA take the opening round.
Yeah, I just wanted to go for the ace there. He's like, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to try and see what I can do. Hope that I find that ace on that very first round. But a quad kill is going to be good enough. Or righteous flank. C4 comes up, gets the first, and he sprays down 3 with the MP7 as it gets red pings at the exact right moment. NIP members were looking for the camera that was giving away their location, and instead they lost their lives rather than finding what they were looking for.
Bedroom bathroom is where we're going to head to next. Not the most common scene site, usually never seen as a site. There are some sort of teams from some sort of regions that have it as a bit of a pocket play, but for DWG KIA's sort of sake and for APAC, you generally don't see it too much. It's a lot of kitchen barbecue instead, and the swing round obviously on the 2-second story site. So I'm kind of curious to see if this is them sort of reading against NIP's game and trying to play something that maybe is a little bit less predictable, a little bit more caution to the wind, and pull some victory out of that amalgamation of chaos.
I was going to check if there was anything in a major. Definitely not, because this is the first time Skyscraper is getting played during these group stages here. So I would have to dig in even further back down the line to find out if there's anything known about it. But instead of doing that, we'll just talk about the setup. It is very top-heavy, as you can see. At least there's going to be a couple of roamers around. There's some castle barricades that have been tossed up to at least slow down the attack, which shouldn't be slowed down too much, though. If you look at the utility out there, they have a sledge, they have grenades, they have gun 6s, so those castle barricades should be disappearing quickly. And after that, they can start working down on that verticality. That's going to be removing people from the bathroom or the bedroom itself.
Steady, quick approach here once again towards the same sort of place. There's not a bandit to trick it out this time round, and that wall will get cracked, but it's not as much of a direct line through to the site itself. There's a lot of dangerous soft. That's the big potential problem here for DWG KIA to keep an awareness of. Sure, they've got the chance of a rotate and a roam, but NIP will probably be paying a little bit more attention to that. There was obviously their play that they're very familiar with, based on their love of sort of tucking themselves in round corners and pulling off big flanks and roams. They have an awareness, they have an ability to react to it. The preparation for the destruction on that side. This grenade is going to get played underneath. No, it gets caught out by the ADS, and well, they're just going to pre-fire the window. Another set of grenades comes through. By the time they loose one of the Finker, you assume that ADS will kick back into life. So a cost of potentially 3, unless Maverick does this.
Yeah, a smart choice right here. Just opening up underneath, creating that way that you do not have to deal with that single ADS. And now the top floor has been opened up on multiple different angles. You also do not see any of these defenders out here directly anymore, hoping to contest it. And that allows the rest of NIP to start working on that verticality. Start sledging open this floor. Start working on some verticality right here as Wizard is doing something horizontally. You kind of want to start moving these players around.
Pino trying to take some of that vertical control. As I said, it's all a lot of soft. And so is the body of Muzi. Katsang drives through. Rin finds Wizard as well. And that little dabble dance we had on the front door before, all the way from the back. And suddenly it's just a little bit of verticality is all they got. Apart from one of them, Psycho, caught out by a C4. There's a quick pop round. Yas cannot quite get the full connection with Pino, who finds himself 4 after a success of 3 on the first round. That's between him and Kamikaze to try and get the final 4 as well. Double the kill tally for the team throughout this game as of yet.
And these last 2 players, a beautiful swing from Woogie. He takes a lot of damage there, but that's fine. He gets that kill. Instantly, Coda taken down now from the floor above. Pino drops down into the staircase. There's going to be 3 members surrounding him. As soon as he steps 1 step down onto that ground floor, he's going to be met with 3 different guns aiming at him at the very same time. It's going to be happening soon. Woogieman with some pre-fires with the UMP, but it's Rin that gets that final kill eventually. And that is going to be 2-0 for DWG KIA. They've already outdone themselves compared to their last meeting with NIP.
It was a really good 2-0 as well. What we saw from DWG KIA there was aggressive. It was talented. It was 5 good fraggers. It's an NIP timeout. Already they're trying to sort of go, okay, we cannot let this team build confidence because, to be honest, at the start of the day, we assumed they had none. And they kind of played like it. Here, it's maybe the first time this whole tournament we're seeing DWG KIA.
We are indeed seeing the DWG KIA that we usually do see during APAC North, trying to find that control, trying to be in control. And NIP having to go for this timeout this early on does give you the idea that they are indeed onto something, because something is clearly going wrong. They're not able to deal with the aggression that DWG KIA brings. They need to find a solution to deal with it now. And that's why they take the 45, to have that discussion. Is there something we do not see that the coach does see and that we can use directly now to try and improve on our game?
I mean, Pino's the only player with kills. Pino's the only one to find any kills over the 2 rounds so far. The rest of the players haven't pulled themselves in. And you're looking at, obviously, at the start of this, the one fun fact about this team was, apart from Kamikaze playing, obviously, that support backline role, every player was technically positive. Yeah, there was a 0 from the side of Psycho. He was perfectly balanced, 22-22. But Muzi on a +5, Pino on a +7, Wizard on a +17. For those guns to not be connecting with the game at all, even just getting 1 or 2 on the way out the door and still losing the round, that's something that the boys need to sort of set themselves down, reset that and go, okay, let's go back to 0-0. Let's see where we can find ourselves.
It's a good thing to go for indeed. You gotta reset yourself. Make sure that you take this next round as it is a new one. Put those last 2 results behind you. And with that, we get going again. It is NIP that is attacking from the west and northern side mostly, as they are headed towards, I believe it's Barbecue and Kitchen that I saw. Not 100% sure. I think it is.
The site?
Yeah, I thought it was Barbecue Kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's just confirming.
Thank you for also confirming, Observer, but yes. It was Barbecue and Kitchen. Sorry, I thought you were losing your mind. And
No,
really
I was just confirming, just to make sure. The verticality is going to be quite important here. And
yeah, 100%.
especially Geisha. It's often somewhere or some place which receives a lot of attacking, well, not really love, but attention. We have to definitely say so, because as soon as you get rid of that player, as soon as you get that hatch, it is going to be quite safe to go for a bit of a plan. Now, there is some information that is going to be key. They might be able to send one in,
they don't
or
need
just
to
go for the wall bang onto Yas. Take him out. He's not going to be of any trouble anymore.
Yeah, that was an absolute freebie there. Yas was caught sleeping through a couple of softs. They just rocked him from a window, and that's a bit of a blow. You can see they were stepped up. I was about to say Psycho was around Shrine and Dragon. He could have pushed from the back, but they just ended up not needing to, and, well, caught on the rotation back round. And, well, having a second player from NIP find a kill netted on the board, that is going to be a massive boost of confidence. That's what the team talk is for. Let's see who else can get one before the end of the round. Woogieman ready to try and swing out on the upside down rappel, but they're ready to have the fight just the same way. Coded has some of the cams and the idea of this approach. It's a minute 10, and with Katsang isolated on the top floor, he's just going to sort of stick out, hold out, and he has the long line of soft underneath him to put some pressure down if he needs to.
Yeah, so as long as he lives, Geisha is still under his control, and that means that the attackers do not really have everything they want. However, what you can see is that every area above Barbecue is starting to fall slightly, so The attackers have something to work with. They just need to find out a way to horizontally clear out the player that's inside the kitchen. If they do manage to do so, there could be an opportunity for a plan. If it wasn't for Woogieman sitting in his current position, might be able to put up some dirt into the food of NIP here, as he's looking to swing around the corner. Scooter that falls, though. There's a bit of pressure that comes in from behind. Psycho that is going to be receiving a bit of a challenge and will find his way as well. Only up to Katsang now in a 1v5. Daddy's going to be clutching this one out, though.
I mean, that's it. He's trying to slip his way around there, putting the kit down, just tucked in on the corner. There's one, there's two, and there's a cold kit. He doesn't confirm the kill on the second. He's more worried about, well, the quick sprint round, the rotation and the repositioning of the two players. He might have thought he could slip away had that player died, but they can just sort of call, just shoot at me, and you'll be able to get him. NIP, tack timeout, proved very successful there. They're able to take the third round, and DK, well, let's just put that up to acceptable losses, potentially. This might be the true test of just how much they learned as we go back to Exhibition.
I have to call it as well, it was a tertiary side, Emmy. You're kind of expected to win that one on the attack. So NIP did what they had to do there. Now they need to step it up a bit, though. Head over towards these next couple of sides, these next two sides, which they have lost before. If they do manage to find some victories here, NIP is definitely in for a very good game. DWG KIA, of course, are looking to lock this first half off with a 4-2 or maybe even a 5-1 scoreline. Anything less will be a bit of trouble, because we talked about it before. Anything lost, either overtime or regulation, means they're going to be out of the running for playoffs. An overtime win is going to be putting them on a 0.09%, which is also very unlikely. It's probably just a single scenario that will be pushing them through. And if they do manage to get a full-time win, then there is a couple more scenarios, a couple more scoreline ranges that there is possible for them to actually make it. But it continues to be the fact that it's looking very, very unlikely that DWG KIA is making it.
I think that's it. Even with the full three now, I mean, they can make things interesting, but the main people who are finding joy of NIP struggling will be Rogue, especially, obviously, with the game that happened on slightly early on today, and then Exet, who, you know, when they're sort of in that fight around the top, any points dropped now from each other is that gift, because it's technically for them a race for three. And DWG KIA is just how much trouble can they cause before they might be kicked out the door.
That's a big question. They function as a bit of gatekeepers here as Kamikaze takes a small amount of damage. Instantly going to be healed back up by the adrenaline surge, so he's not too worried about it. But we do see is that NIP is looking to attack from multiple different angles. Wizard wants to get in with a Gara, who consecutively does that at the bottom of the black stairs. Still debating whether or not to go up or to continue that journey up again.
Twice.
The grenade this time used it to try and get rid of Yas. The second one needs to be used to actually get rid of him now. To try and go for a bit of a pre-fire with the LMG, but not quite connecting. And Kamikaze really wants to open up this wall, but it's nothing he can do.
He's doing his best. They have the pressure from underneath potentially as well. Wizard on the creep round. He's still maybe undetected. Musi is the same. There is somebody not too far away from him, though. If we recall, this round was almost decided by a 4K roam and rotation played on by Yas. And this time, he's a little bit more isolated, but this time, there's the surprise strike. Wizard takes out Woogieman. The clash gone as the first body somewhere around Geisha. A bit of a strange blow when you think about where the site is, what the Clash was doing so isolated, whether they were...
I think it was Drum or maybe even the little terrace area, because of course you have that soft wall, which if you create an angle in it, you might be able to get a long line of sight. Pino finds Rin as well. That's a double man entry here for the side of NIP. This is something they can work with. Need to take care of some of the bot wire first, though, before the glass is going to get into full use. Hoping to find either Coated or Katsang that is going to be prone near the site, but they are both behind cover.
That's it. Psycho's just going to hold the rotation between the sites itself. Yas has gone for a rotate, but this time there's nobody else really around that side. And Wizard, he's behind Yas. Do they know? Does he have his headphones in? The Gun 6 is going to be noisy, and it's going to swing round. How quick can he get this pop? Oh, not quick enough. He doesn't quite know, but he still gets the cover. Just comes through. Yas cannot quite escape. and they maybe thought he was closer around Drum, maybe thought he was a little bit deeper into Shrine or Dragon, but Katsang pops up, gets the kick cold, 10 seconds. The response and revenge needs to come now from NIP. They've got to double team this at the same point. Psycho suffers. There it is. Pino gets the pickup, a couple of seconds, coated with a C4. He doesn't even need to use it.
Don't even try and go for the attempt to plant there. So with that, DWG KIA is going to be able to pick up another round in this matchup against NIP. Round 5 soon to start. NIP really should have won that one. And if you just look at it, you take care of the clash so early on, right? That was a bit of a troublemaker earlier on. It has been a troublemaker for many different teams. You basically get it for free. No challenge at all gifted. Now, you know where Yas is. Now, what we saw was the Gon 6 to be used to open up the door. Amaru runs right towards Yas. Realizes the Gon 6 is still in hand somehow instead of the actual LMG that she carries along. Yas is going to be able to find that kill and, of course, dies instantly afterwards. But the damage is already done. Time is already being wasted. Just the last member being downstairs, Kota with that Nitro cell. They could have gone for a plant, but they weren't in the right position. Of course, the kick got dropped earlier. Stuff you just need to either prevent from happening or respond to it a little bit quicker as you are NIP. Because DWG KIA so far, pretty good health. One of the best that we've seen from them in this tournament so far. The first actual DWG KIA game is currently underway. It's a bit late, but...
Bit late. Better late based on expectations, but it's a game of two halves, isn't it? It's a tournament of two halves, and you never really know until you know, and still... This is a game of two halves, and on Skyscraper we have seen defenders do well. We haven't seen Karaoke as a site and a side as of yet. They're still opting to play away from it. I guess there's still a chance for one more after this, but we're back to the bedroom and back to the quick breach there. As the swing around, the top of the stair set gives them through Thoroughfare onto Exhibition. They've got to try and get some control of it if they want to start trying to break and crack their way down.
Trying to push on now. The Mute Jammer still in place. They need to find a way to get rid of it. This time there is no Maestro, so grenades need to come around the corner. There's no ADS around this time. That will actually stop it from happening. That's actually Gon 6 used first. Surely the grenade comes after. No, missed the first one. Okay, need a second grenade to get... is this gonna work? Yes, there you go. A bit of utility used, but finally they do open it up, and that means the top floor control can now start to get underway. See one player still out there from the side of DWG KIA was making his way over, and then suddenly the door opened up. So he's like, all right, it's time to move to a different kind of position. You can see right here, Boogeyman playing with the suppressed UMP. Okay. Yeah, it's just not
it's a
combination you see often. Yes.
It's the suppression on it. We've seen it, to be fair. We've seen a little bit of suppression play, whether it's specifically on the UMP or not. The gun can't get much weaker. It's but it can do big plays. Coated, talking of, knocking on the door of a big play, and Psycho's knocking on the door of Yas. Takes him out with the equation on the far side. He's had one big round and then a little scrap. Do they know? Oh, they do, but they couldn't quite get it. The shotgun gets the secondary lock in there. They had the drone round on the side. It really should have been Pino's to connect with, and it seems like that sort of slip-up wouldn't have been his before. The man's 10-2, though. We can cut him a bit of a break now, and then he's allowed one. And I feel like it's probably only going to be one with the pace he's been able to apply.
Pino's definitely onto a game here. It's just...
Do they know? Do they know? Oh, no, they don't. Rin.
Splash 12.
Great catch, Observer. I'm not sure who we've got, but we've also got Coated getting Kamikaze as well. NIP lose another player as the structure of the site is proving a little bit dangerous for this approach here. NIP is trying to find their way through. The Observer is the Italian stallion, red like. And we're going to see if we can just get... Well, the last swing round, Coated finds himself one more. Muzi on the door, pulls himself back out. He hasn't been able to find anybody's but his first. 10 seconds to find 3 apiece. We've had this situation for DWG KIA before, but I feel like we're about to say 1 round to... DWG 4.
Yeah, yes. It's going to take a while. DWG KIA able to fight back here. 4 rounds. I just quickly have to go back. So all our observers have nicknames now. We have the Croatian Sensation, now the Italian Stallion,
and the Dutch
Disappointment. So sorry, Easy.
He chose that himself.
He did.
We didn't give him that name.
No, he chose it himself.
I wanted to call him the Flying Dutchman.
It doesn't quite rhyme, right? It's not,
It doesn't have to.
No, of course
It just
it
has
doesn't
to be a
have
thing.
Attackers need to locate and
Yeah, I mean, the Flying Dutchman is a thing.
Yeah.
It's just
He's
also
he's
move
the
in
crying
football.
Dutchman.
The Crying Dutchman. Okay.
Stefan with his little tired t-shirt.
Tired and destroyed.
Okay, 4-1. DWG KIA, my word, you're in the lead. And I believe at this point, I'm just going to quickly double check, this is now tied with their best performance over the whole tournament in terms of rounds taken. They obviously only got 1 last time they played NIP, which was on Club, and 2 versus Rogue, and 4 earlier on today. They have equaled their best performance this major.
They have, and there's plenty of rounds to go. A potential 3, you know, but that will mean they will win 7-1. That is really good, and potentially a little bit more if NIP do manage to start putting some extra rounds onto the board here, because they only have just 1 at this moment in time. And this might actually hurt NIP more than you might imagine, because round differential is the first tiebreaker. We have been talking about it many, many times. We basically count DWG KIA out of the race for the major already. Whilst it's not completely the case, it's not completely fair to do so either, but just statistically unlikely, as Woogieman escapes with his life there. If NIP lose this 7-1, that's a -6. They might just say goodbye to the chances on a tiebreaker.
Yes, as I said, he's sort of been a bit hit and miss. In the rounds he hit, well, 4 of his kills came in the very opener, and since then he's only really been able to find 1. But luckily, the spread of the team has been able to put some of this back round. Musy's dug underneath with the grenades. He wants to see if he can get a cheeky catch on the players that, to be fair, they should have got a cheeky catch on before. Obviously, this is the first time we've seen this site, but the only success of NIP came on this half of the building, on the floor below. It seems like they have a lot of awareness of how they want to try and put this pressure on.
It's going to be the opening of Geisha, which means that NIP is going to be focusing themselves out there to go for the first very push. At least potentially. No one else really inside of the building yet. Now, on that top floor, that is. And they need to find an entry somewhere. And there's still some roaming going around from the side of DWG KIA. Some fight backs are on the board, which they need to take care of. The question is, will they? Grenades are being tossed in from below. So far, not finding anything as of yet. You kind of want to find a kill if you manage to bring so many grenades. I believe it's a total of 4. 3 have been used now. Not a single one has connected just a little bit. This one might go the right direction, but also the player just rotated out in time. And that means, with the utility that is now currently left, you have maybe 2 concussions or 2 impacts left, but that's about it for Pino, who does find the very first though onto Yas with the LMG.
Now they got to see if they can try and move behind it. 45 seconds. Time's been a bit of a factor here for NIP. Some of these rounds, not that they've seemed sluggish, but they've definitely seemed a bit close to the wire. Slow on that final approach here. Hey, there's Musy. Swung around, got an easy pickup onto Rin. The surprise of the Nurk has that surprising factor. Woogieman's tucked behind the barricade as Coated starts to suffer next. It's a swing round, and as the DWG KIA players start to fall closer and closer, Katsang's going to be the next in a bit of an engagement. Musy underneath, 20 seconds. He's got to find his way around, and well, they're not going to be able to buy any more time than that. Psycho gets the swing. Coated holding onto Black Stairs. Woogieman makes his way back round, able to get a heavy hit onto Wizard. Where's the kit? That's the big question. Currently in the hands of the players. A swing round, a bit of a spray, but it's out of it.
It is out of it, and that is NIP that will find themselves another round, an important one, just at the end of the half. And with that, they find themselves in a better position, I was not going to say good, to actually fight for the second half and make sure that they are able to pick 3 points in this game. Just mentioned it before, if they fail to pick up these 3 points, might get a bit troublesome if you start looking at the rest of the group, right? Because they want to be in that top 2 spot. You have to win against DWG KIA. Now, how sad it actually sounds, they are the weakest team in the group. Haven't won a single game yet. In total, won, what was it, like 10 rounds maximum before that this game started? So 7 even. So with that, you know, it is, or it was not looking likely that DWG KIA was going to be able to win a game. And right now, they're pretty well into it. 4-2. They are leading. They're now onto the attack. This is where they need to make the difference now. This is where they need to show NIP that they are here at the major as well and want to get away with a win. As we look at the repicks to come through, is the Finka to come through? Is the Monty to be picked? Might see ourselves a little bit of a push from to the balcony that you just see heavily stacked up with ADSs and a shield and all that kind of stuff.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
I quoted it at the start of this game that NIP, they were one of those teams where only one player was technically negative on the KD compared to the rest of them. It was kind of the opposite story for DWG KIA. Only one player was positive. Katsang started this game on a +3. Everybody else was down all the way towards a -5 to a -15. There was a big spread, and none of it was fantastic. And here, it's a lot closer to the wire. I think that's one of the things that we've kind of missed about DWG KIA is we've always quoted it as being like a superstar 5-player team. They have pop-out rounds of players, but all of them are capable. This isn't their best performance. It's 100% their best performance this major, but they're evenly starting to grow again. And if they can try and take a bit of energy here on their attacks, who knows where those superstar moments might start to shine through from.
And of course, DWG KIA, they have been relatively uncontested during APAC North. You have to remember that. So right now, they're coming up here at the international stage, and things just don't really seem to be working anymore as they used to before. Now, as we get going with this round, Woogieman is looking to be entering, has a shield right in front of him, has a Banshee that is slowing him down. There's a bunch of ADSs as well. He needs to be careful to not overstep because there's 3 different angles he needs to worry about, but he gets himself right behind the Wamai. That's a huge play from the Monty. Now can open up with the pistol, not quite able to do much damage yet, but the support comes in from Yas, and that's exactly what we were looking for.
Well, that's a little bit of hot chaos for you. Yas right up the black stairs and up the back of the Monty. A minute 20 now on the board, and they've been able to take the first player and a huge bit of territory. The swing and the pop, they're going for a bit of a retake here. Muzi misses the drone, but he's ready for the head to pop its head round the corner itself, but it's a Monty. The man Mountain can just keep that awareness, move himself and shuffle towards the site itself. If he can get a bit of a beat and a read on it, that could be a big blow. We see the dagger stop itself with a quick spread foam, a little bit sturdier. Then a man can just pass through. He'll have to do a couple of knocks. With a minute on, you can still see DK trying to find the pieces to put it together.
I was going to say Karaoke is relatively uncontested for a Montaigne to push through. If they do open up to keep a barrier, he can find himself a way in. That's exactly what he wants to go for now. Gets reopened up, though, or reclosed up, so they are going to be punching that one down. When it does break, he will try and make himself a way through, but the support needs to be there. He cannot just go alone, because if he does that, of course, will be isolated, will be taken out, and the diffuser will be dropped. So smoke canisters come through. They're trying to block as many lines aside as they possibly can. Flashbangs as well. Unfortunately, though, Woogieman will go down, but the SMG and the smoke canister that both pop at the same time. And now DWG KIA is without their Monty and without their diffuser.
Oh, there is Pino getting the end of one and Coated on the far side. An impact underneath, but look at the timer. Only a pocket full of seconds, and they're trying to find the right pieces. One of them's the kit, but they lose somebody else in the mix. Coated has to trust all the cover of Katsang behind the shield itself. There's slivers of health. There's 2 bodies up the black stairs. He sees them too late, and there is NIP! Just find their route round and secure their first.
Just in time, they're getting the last kill. Kamikaze, I know it's Pino, but he was the one with the SMG getting that final one, making sure that there was no opportunity for Down One to fight back as soon as that diffuser went down. And now, NIP closing that gap 4-3. Needing an extra round, and then suddenly we're all even again. No technical timer to be called as of yet here. Exhibition and Office is up next. The Clash to be brought out by NIP. Actually changed out to the Valkyrie.
It becomes a sort of point of prominence, the Clash, on some of these sites against some of these teams. They try and act as a buffer. They try and act as a wall.
Yes.
And if you're unsure how to deal with a wall is impassable. If you're well versed in that, well, this isn't actually that wide of a wall, then suddenly you have a route round it.
It's more of a barrier.
It's more of a barrier.
Yeah.
DWG KIA, on their day, can treat Clash like a barrier. They can very quickly pull her apart. This hasn't really been their day.
Well, I mean, this game might be more like
This game might be their afternoon.
It might be the afternoon of that day.
But this could be, again, another one of those moments where that Clash isn't even sort of stuck around.
No, I said it was 6 picks away to Valkyrie. I was talking about it, and then they swapped it last second, so unfortunate.
I just want to point out,
yeah,
I've been up since 6 in the morning.
Yeah, I get it.
And I went to
bed.
bed.
You have to do like hair and makeup.
I have to come in an hour and a half before everybody else.
Yeah. I just come in 5 minutes.
And I went to bed at 1:30 last night after doing my notes. Okay, there's my excuse done for not fully listening to the end of your sentence.
It's totally fine. Most people mute it anyway, right? So.
I'm saying this 4-3. And Azami, it might be this first bit of focus. And yes, they're definitely picked and played. They're locked inside of the Geisha, but they're actually going to try and slip away. There is some cover coming, and maybe they felt they were a bit too isolated as the drones start to roll. There's always a chance to go for a bit of a jiggle back and a retake, and they have a player underneath, but the caution has to be paid towards, well, how alone am I, and can I have a friend?
There's definitely going to be a friend for Decided Wizard around Karaoke, so doesn't have to be worrying too much about that. So the drone's already taken out. There are only 5 left, but still 2 minutes left on the clock for DWG KIA. It's not ideal. Of course, they do have the Gemini replicators, which do recharge, but also if they get destroyed, it takes quite a long time. So you need to be kind of careful with their information game here. Some noise being made by Coded. Knows a player could be on the other side of that wall. That is partially opened up. That is going to be the direct side as well, so pre-fire to save his own life. Okay, is that a bit of aggression came through? A phone call as well. Logic bomb used. It's not going to be able to find any success whatsoever. Might have allowed a player of DWG KIA to move in elsewhere, though, without having to be afraid of someone to be close around the corner.
Psycho, he survives, and only just as a big pocket explosion puts some pressure onto the Valk. They're going to hop up to a little bit of safety as DWG KIA are trying to apply that direct pressure from underneath. And it doesn't matter how wide your hold is across the top floor, they're looking for a bit more of a direct route. And with only 50 seconds left, they've got to start trying to take it more than anything. The fight up those core stairs. I talked about isolating players before, as Army does have the hatch. If they want to take the drop and get out of there, they also have the chance of maybe a jump out, maybe a run out, maybe ending Psycho. Is it enough to get the call? No. They're looking for potentially the end, a bit of a pop and a pre-fire. The player's down, but they're in a very dangerous, isolated position, trying to find the last route thread there. They're holding it. There goes Wizard. Rin wins the fight over onto the Geisha side. Coated is trying to apply a little bit further pressure now, but 20 seconds. There is one sat just around the corner of gold. Pino, will he get a freebie? He's making a lot of noise for the fight, reveals himself by hopping up. 15 seconds. There's the whip. There's drum. There's empty. There's a route back to the site. Kota gets one more. They're going to try and go for the retake. Kamikaze finds it. They've still got to try and get the kit down in the meantime. They're driving themselves back into the side. A huge take by Pino. They've slipped through the breach on the side. 2 seconds. Katsang hold F. There's a C4 though. Doesn't quite get the catch. And there's Woogie Man! Over the top, gets the next one and keeps the 2-round buffer.
For the C4 got blown up by a grenade or something like that that just popped through, or might have been shut out because the explosion never followed. And DWG KIA, they will make sure that the gap between them and NIP stays at least 2 rounds for now. One more round and they find themselves a point. Like, no team wants to be leaving a major when they get grouped, right? But if you do get grouped, let's at least try and get some points home. And that's what DWG KIA is trying to do now. Take some points, take some lessons, so when they do come around the next time as well, they will be able to fight effectively for a spot at the playoffs. And of course, even if they win, they aren't fully out yet. It is just a very slim chance that they will still have to climb. DWG KIA, though, seem like they want to go for a bit of a quick push. If you look at the current operator lineup, a Blitz gets repicked. We see also the Florist to make its appearance, a Finka, and then the Ace and the Nomad. It's a full 5-man repick to come through.
10 seconds.
And how will it work out against the current setup of NIP? Now, there's a lot of players currently offside, so if you do decide to go quick, it might be successful.
Attackers have located a
Got a
bomb.
Monty.
It is a
and
Monty.
Blitz.
Yeah, it's a Monty and a Blitz. So I was going to say, are they going to go quick? What are they going to do? Only they can really answer here. Well, Yas isn't going to do anything. Musi with the pop out is able to pop off the head of the Flores. That will buy them some safety on things like the castles, any of the holds there. They can maybe burn through some of the arena gates. The mute jammers might have caused a problem, but if you're a very good Flores player, you can just get a catch on some of the special ones. Let's see what the 2-shield shuffle can bring towards this engagement. Coated has an irritatingly sturdy wall to get rid of here. The Flores would have made quick work of that, but the shield, unfortunately, has to do this.
Yeah, a couple of punches. The smoke canister will be used to at least cover out the feet, so they don't really have to worry about it. C4 gets used, hoping to find the shield, of course, as they punch. Not going to be the case. Rin inserts himself down below to see if they can put pressure from 2 different sides with those shields.
Well, what they're doing is isolating a bit of black stairs here, making things awkward for the players to move out. There is the player behind Barbecue. They're just going to clear some of the barbed wire there on the inside. The Monty doesn't really have to be quiet, and, well, they slip their way closer and closer to the site. Now black is theirs, but at the same time, a player isn't. They're a little bit loose, and the two shields are trying to find their way through. Wizard gets a very easy pick up from the top floor, down onto the top of the head of the Blitz. Rin's trying to find a connection. Katsang's on the far side with the kit alone. And Rin is now removed. Two shields was an attempt from Damwon Kia. An attempt is the emphasis in that sentence.
Yeah, the shields didn't really work out. Both the Blitz and the Monty picked up as the second and third kill without having any real impact. It's also Wizard now to find Boogeyman, only leaving it up to Katsang now, the last member standing of Damwon Kia. Looks like NIP might be able to find themselves a fourth round here, unless Katsang is going to be able to bring a massive clutch into the hands of Damwon Kia. Doesn't find the first, it's wall banged and banged from above as well at the very same time, and a flawless round is upon NIP.
5-4, NIP back and forth here, but to be honest, they still got to try and break beyond that even. Karaoke was where they were the first time round, and Damwon Kia maybe are aware of us heading potentially back there. There's obviously still another site option, because one more round, Damwon Kia guarantee themselves their first point.
Yeah.
So far from what they need. They need 3 and a lot of other things.
All the time and everything else,
yes. They need 3 and a lot of other things to happen, but they need 3. And 3 starts with 1, and 1 starts with
I think the only way that they can win, right? And I'm going to theory graph now, is that they win.
Throw some numbers.
They win every game, which puts them on 9 points.
Yeah.
Then they need to choose, like, you can choose one team that wins all the other games as well, preferably the one with the highest round differential.
That's Rogue.
So Rogue wins their games, except for the one against Damwon Kia, so they get up onto 10 points, or 12 points. Then you basically need Exed and Rogue.
Exed and NIP.
Exed and NIP, sorry, to leave points behind. Now, I think it can either work with overtime losses and wins.
Yeah.
And then round differential will be the decisive factor in the end.
Maths,
yes. It's like both need to get one overtime win and one overtime loss, and then it's all coming down to
that stuff. I think it's
it's difficult.
It's not even that. So if Damwon Kia, let's theorycraft, Damwon Kia beat NIP, beat Exet, then Exet and NIP both drop 3 points. If Rogue beats them, then they've both dropped another 3 points. Then they can only pull.
They need to beat Rogue as well. They need to win everything.
No. I'm not talking about Damwon Kia. I'm talking about Exet and NIP. So if they lose the 6 points and lose to both Rogue and Damwon Kia, and then they go OT, then Damwon Kia are direct through.
Without round differential.
Without round differential.
If one of them wins the game,
if one of them wins
full time, then it's going to be round differential.
Then round differential comes in.
So there is a possibility.
It doesn't have to be Rogue, by the way, but
it can also be any of these
other teams. It can be any of the
others,
others, depending on how the next game on this stream goes. This is theory crafting. This game's still not even over. Damwon Kia, they've had their time out, and they probably didn't theory craft, but they crafted the theory on how they can take the rest of this game. 1 round. DK, 1 round.
1 round for a single point. It's not going to be enough to stay into the fight, but it's definitely something to at least be happy with after the start of your major. Is that a suppressed L85? We're going to really love the suppressors.
They don't know where you're coming from.
You don't know where you're coming from. You don't get any tracers, and I guess like if you hit your shots, it doesn't quite matter because you should be able to get the drop on them. But a straight-on gunfight might actually make you lose out.
They have the swing round, that bit of the extension over the top as the bodies start to try and move in on the opposite side of the site. Exhibition is going to be the first point of ingress. They're happy to try and put the pressure now, swinging towards, well, I was going to say a drum, but actually it seems like they want to opt onto the Dragon's side and the Shrine instead. A bit of a pick-up sticks. Yas is moving away from the top of Black Stairs where he was before, hoping to get maybe a bit more of a split pressure. He's back towards the angle onto the window. He's sort of having a back and forth, and well, there's a scrappy one. Pino goes down, the MVP so far, and for the day for NIP is the first off the board on quite an important round.
Our first seed to make its reappearance to Pro Play. Not often we see that going around anymore. It's not often we see Ash around anymore, but we're able to find a kill with it here. So now a man advantage here for the side of Damwon Kia going up against NIP. There is still that clash you need to worry about. A grenade just gets zapped out by an ADS, so won't be able to find the clash. We need to find a different way around it.
Now, as they approach themselves towards the top of Black Stairs, they're going to see if they can try and pinch the remaining 4 NIP players. But we just passed the minute mark, and that's been a bit of a worrying echo throughout both teams attacking on Skyscraper. it's slow. They find themselves with barely any time when the execute comes to the pass. Hey, remember all that stuff I said about Clash like 4 rounds ago?
Yeah.
I just meant to say that now.
Of course.
I just meant to say that now. When Clash is on the board in the pockets of Psycho, it's something that DWG KIA can and have dealt with well before. But it is a problem to deal with. And that's going to be one that they're going to start to butt heads with. There's Wizard, there's Kamikaze. Quick responses to each other. NIP's able to get an important trade out of it, and Kamikaze keeps control of the stairs. Musi round on the backside, gets Katsang, gets a cold kit, and 20 seconds left. Boogeyman has to try and drive the fight towards it. Psycho's rolling his way back as far as he can go. They want to offer each other some support here and try and double up, protect the kit, and maybe you can try and pull this site together. They know where it was, and they know that it's in a tricky situation. 2 of them stacked onto the doorway. They're going to find it and hope the fight comes, but they don't need it! DWG KIA drive themselves towards their first confirmed point. Will it be 3?
That is the big question now. They have an opportunity to do so. They have an opportunity to take a full-time win and continue their fight to potentially make it towards playoffs. Everything needs to be working out for them, though. But at least they've done everything they can at the second of the round robin. An exhibition is up next. The Clash again to be on the board, at least for now, might be picked away. No, not this time around, so we can, again, cue the monologue about Clash.
Cue the monologue?
Yeah, cue the monologue.
Just replay the audio that I said on the round.
Exactly.
I knew that she would be picked on these 2 rounds. That's why
I totally believe you.
That's why I said it when I did when she was 6 picked off.
It's not even 6 pick anymore. I kind of miss 6 picks.
Oh yeah, I'm still used to saying it. Occasionally, if it's just one attacker repick, then it's technically the 6th pick.
Yeah.
Now we have the 7th pick
And the 8th.
and the 8th pick.
Potentially a 9th to come in as well.
Come on, do we have a 9th?
knows?
I think Rin might stay on Ashe.
Yeah.
Because I think Rin's found a bit of comfort with the guns of Ashe. They came up as an Ashe player. They have, I'm going to say, struggled in some games in some respects to sort of keep up. There's the 9th pick.
Yep, they have it. 10th
There's
pick
the
as well.
10th. Rin moves on to the Finker just at the dying breath.
Big
A
MG.
little bit more modern for a gunner. Hey, Rin, if you think you can swing it, go for it. Because the games when you're confident, they're the games usually that DWG KIA win.
Yeah, definitely so. And we have 2 LMGs now onto the side, and basically half an LMG on the side of Boogeyman. That they are 3 LMGs. Sorry, I forgot the one about Ying. So it's a lot of ammunition.
Oh, it's a lot of ammo.
And these magazines. Any of these players can just continue firing without really having to stop. But there's one big worry, and that is going to be the Clash. How are you going to be dealing with that? Well, you have 2 grenades, but that is not really going to be the option. You do have some concussions uncoated, but if you see where Psycho is currently playing, the shield will pop up to the right, which means that if you keep cover on your left, you are basically invincible, and no one will be able to shut you down. Let's see if this time this gets tricked. Nope, doesn't seem to be the case. Because it is, of course, DWG KIA placing it rather than playing on the Bandit.
That's it. There's not a bandit to directly try and play against that. I'm not sure if there was a mute jammer that was removed from any destruction underneath, but if it was, well, it's been removed.
There was a mute jammer.
No, it's been tucked a little bit too around the corner. Hey, Woogieman, he's been tucked away. The Lion popped an E1D and then got dropped before he even finished swinging. They have an upside-down rappel. Watching Clash on the far side, who's just sort of keeping themselves outside. They know that they're fine there. They have the Remind Disc to catch the first destruction that might come their way. And they're just sort of having that continual, there's an opponent outside ping on the front of DWG KIA's screens.
I was going to say, there's just basically a single player directly into the side. If you just hop in from the window, you might be able to put up some pressure there. That is going to be Pino taking a lot of damage there. Rin takes a small amount as well, but heals himself back up. Now Pino digs in deep, wants to hold into a corner here, not overextend, and make sure he plays with his life. Of course, has a Nitro Cell, which is so valuable.
Wizard holding onto the side of Drum. They've got the extension onto the square stairs as well. Kamikaze, he's curious about any approach that might be happening towards the window that you talked about, so he's going to give himself just a little bit more of an awareness. The Clash will read everything that's being played in place there, and Kota digging underneath. Will Pino be able to strike? Is there still a watch? Rin's trying to hunt them, trying to find that loose player. They know that they were close, but close isn't caught, and the longer this fight goes on, there they are. Rin round the back gets one. Coated, as I said, the second LMG has gone to join them. They might be able to play some grenades. The Candelas start to roll out. Yas is trying to eye himself up towards the site itself. The second going to go a little bit deeper. They've got control underneath, so they can just go for a hopped plant here. There it is. More and more cover. Katsang wants to get over the top. Rin, he's holding onto the stairs, the square. Everybody's blind at this moment in time, but 14 seconds. They've gone deeper. Musi finds Katsang. That's a cold kit. That's a cold coated. Psycho retaken. Rin, Huge fight back, but it's a 2 versus 2. They've got to find the remaining players. They do not. NIP get one of the 2 that they need. Only one separates them from OT.
One more opportunity for DWG KIA to lock this off in regulation, to find themselves with a full 3, because we said it before, any loss is going to mean that they are out. An overtime win basically means there's going to be only a single scenario or 2 that will be allowing them to continue. As the match point is upon us, DWG KIA needs to make the right decision. NIP is headed towards barbecue and kitchen.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Is it going to be enough? Is this going to be the right choice for NIP? Are they going to be able to bring it back? Because they themselves are still fighting for a spot at the playoffs. They have nothing confirmed yet, considering the fact that, well, you know, there's 3 teams currently on 6 points. So if NIP lose out the opportunity to pick up any points here, that means that it's free range for Rogue and Except to pick up points in their next game.
Ooh, it's so close to a joyous moment for a lot of other teams in this group unless you're NIP. NIP, they need to make sure that this isn't a sort of no-win. Not just for the fight on DWG KIA's chances, but for the fact that them and their 2 opponents are all neck and neck before. And if they at least get something from this game, then they might still be in second ahead of the results of the game to follow. Which is important when you're sort of eyeing up the potential fight that's going to happen otherwise. NIP, how are they going to lock in this final hold on barbecue? Once again, last time, we remember 2 shields, and that was about it from their opponents.
The 2 shields are nothing to write home about as well. They really didn't work out at all. They just got shut down as they tried to isolate one of these players, not having any impact. So good call for DWG KIA to go for a completely different kind of line at this time.
Hey, if it doesn't work, change it. I think
yes. If it's broken, you fix it.
If it's broken, you fix it. And now we're going to see if they can at least try and fix it. It's still just 1 round separation. They've gone 6 with a quick pop onto a castle that previously a shield had to try and punch through. Woogieman baited the throw, hoped for a bit of a hop out there, and just going to pepper a couple of bullets, maybe sort of putting the awareness of, like, I'm out here. He wants to catch a loose player. NIP isn't playing loose. They've pulled themselves actually further and further back away from Shrine and into a slightly more secure position. Look at this, though. The slow creep of Rin on the Nook below. We've seen a Nook do bits and business for NIP's approaches.
For sure, there's also 2 grenades that Rin is looking to use, but some verticality out here. Psycho is potentially going to be putting some dirt into that ID. Coated, though, will find Kamikaze. It's a great first kill. It's a mute of the board. That's a nitro cell you do no longer have to worry about as well. All you need to do now is take control of the rest of that top floor so you can start working your way down. Rin takes a small amount of damage, as expected from above. Doesn't actually continue with that fight. Instantly falls back and hopes to go for a different approach to find more success.
Well, they've got there first. Are they going to slip past the Nook? I think just at the last split second got the realization there's somebody holding the angle from Drum down the Aruni. Psycho isn't letting anybody slip past this door, and, well, how long are they going to keep this back and forth? Because it's 1-for-1 locked in each other. Yas suffers in the meantime around the top, around the bottom of Black Stairs even. They've reevaluated their positioning. There's the player above. They're watching down onto the gantry. It's Musi sort of slipping back and forth. They're trying to expect and find where the next DK player is going to pop up from.
Of course, these grenades still in hand for Rin. Woogieman is inside. Up on the top floor, gets a double kill. DWG KIA. This might be decisive. Pino finds Rin, though, onto the actual side. Rotates back towards the barbecue, but there's a drone out there. Psycho gets picked up. It's all Pino. It's all DK. They get a 3-point victory here against NIP, and that means they survive, at least for today.
The drought has ended for DWG KIA, a team that came in as a few people's favorites. Well, there's less people's favorites now, but at least they've got something, and every story starts with something. NIP haven't quite been able to get it out of this game, even with a meteoric performance from Pino. It's DWG KIA that take 3 points, and that really shakes up this group. We'll see how after a very quick break.
right to leave Rainbow. We are stronger than we've ever been, and our new recruits legitimize us in the eyes of many skeptics. What is a high price tag when success is guaranteed? Our results speak for themselves and give us leeway to operate as we wish. The world is not designed to foster talent. Fall in line. Do what is expected of you. In my life, I've often found that the great rarely fit traditional standards. When you confine excellence, it suffocates.
Ace, wall down in 5. Thinker, prepare for a rush.
In removing these restraints, I have redefined what an operational unit can be.
Forward, now! Go, 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 go!
Some might see us as selfish and opportunistic. Let them. Nighthaven will leave them in the dust as we saw.
Welcome back here to the B stream in the post-game of DWG KIA's first game. In some ways, they're here. They found themselves a win. It was all the way to the end, and there was still a fantastic performance from parts of NIP, but DWG KIA just pull it together.
A three-pointer, more importantly. That means they're now 3 points behind on the rest of the group. Of course, Rogue and XZ will be playing in just a little bit, which means that some of them, or maybe both of them, will be able to pick up some points. So that lead will start to increase a little bit. But they have a chance of fighting. Even though it is a very small chance, there is a chance of fighting. So let's just quickly pull up the summary of that game, just so we can talk about it a little bit more. As DWG KIA, they started off strong. A good first half, 4-1, eventually 4-2, and then it was a bit back and forth.
Pino, 15-6, a huge performance that I talked about, but still just missing those couple of moments. Time was a big factor. You can see it there on those DWG KIA rounds. 3 of them ended based on timeout. Okay, one of them, I remember, was a 4 versus 1 with about 30 seconds left. One of them was a 3 versus 1 with about 10 seconds, 15 seconds left. That one's much tighter. There was still plant rounds that DWG KIA took. We look at that, one of the final rounds there that DWG KIA was able to take, where it was 3 seconds left that they were able to get the last 2 kills. Time was such a big factor in this game. DWG KIA were just that little bit sharper as a 5-stack.
It was definitely a bit of a slow game, right? Like, both these teams took it up until the absolute last couple of seconds to make sure that they've done everything they needed to do, and yet there were still issues that posed up. Either a clash that made it quite difficult for them to push through, or a flank suddenly in the hands of a NIP player who looked to cause some chaos. Now, with that though, DWG KIA find themselves on 3 points. That means statistically a 4% chance. Let's just say it again. What needs to happen again? We need...
Well, if DWG KIA are to make it out of the group, as we go over to the group standings, this is a potential way of it happening. NIP now have to lose their next potential game and then tie up with somebody. Let's just say Rogue are the other team that you want to make through it, but you can swap XZ out for this. Rogue need to win all of their remaining games apart from the one versus DWG KIA. So they need 6 points to take from XZ and NIP. XZ and NIP, when they play each other, need to go to OT. So 1 round or 2 rounds. Probably better if at this point, with XZ having a better round difference, that XZ are the ones that only get one
single point. Yes.
Just to keep that a little bit closer. And then DWG KIA obviously beat both Rogue and XZ. That is their way that they can do it cleanly. It can get a little bit messy if either XZ or Ninjas and Pyjamas take the full 3 points against each other, because then it comes down to round difference. So what they need is when Rogue beats those other potential teams, again, if you're an XZ fan, you can swap that with XZ. I'm not being biased, just factual. It's the only way DWG KIA can make it. They've got to slap them.
It's basically 7-0s is what we're looking at, right? It's like with 7-1, 7-1s, that is how DWG KIA would like to see that happen, and then they themselves need to be winning their remaining games with quite a bit of a difference, not just a 2-round difference we saw. It's not going to be enough. So with that said, they still live to find out whether or not they do after the next game is going to be a different question, so we will be coming back to you shortly with the next game, which is going to be Rogue versus XZ.